Hey there, calculus students. Let us talk about the concept of limit. Let's get an idea. What is a limit? A limit, or the limit, is the y value that the graph approaches as x approaches a certain x value. Listen to this statement carefully with your utmost attention. The limit is the y value. So a limit must be a y value that a graph approaches. The graph is the function in this context as x approaches a certain x value. So now let's try to put this idea into a geometric space. So we have got a function here given by f of x, or we can just say y is equals to x squared. This is a mother graph for a quadratic function or a parabola. So now we would like to approach x is equals to -1 on the x-axis along our function. So we would need to observe what's happening within the y-axis. Which y value are we approaching on the function, not on the axis, on the function. So when we say that we are approaching -1 on the x-axis, what are we actually doing? We're actually moving from the left to the right. Okay, in this first arrow. So you are moving from this position, maybe here x is equals to -2 and all of those. And you are moving with your function. You are moving with your function and you are going to approach x is equals to -1. So you can see as I'm moving here, my function is approaching x is equals to -1. So you must also observe what is happening on the y-axis. On the y-axis, when you are here, you can see that y is equals to 4 when x is -2. And then as you approach -1, y is now equals to 3. Y is now equals to 2. And then do you see that as you approach -1, your y values are approaching +1. So basically you can see that as you approach -1 on the x-axis, the y values are approaching +1 on the y-axis. So the limit is that y value that the graph approaches as x approaches a certain x value. In this case, the x values are moving from -infinity and they are approaching -1. So as they are moving from the left of -1, they are approaching -1. So that is the certain x value that we are approaching. So the y value that will result in, it will be +1. So we can just write there and say that the limit as x approaches -1. So the limit as the x values are moving towards -1 of the function f of x is equals to +1. So it just means that 1 or +1 is just the y value that we approach when x is approaching -1. So that's how we say that this is the limit of the function as x approaches -1. Let us look at another one. If we approach +1, here is +1 on the x-axis. So if our x values approach +1, the y values, which value are they approaching? So let's just say we are approaching from the right. So this is on the function. You approach on the function. So maybe the function value here, you can see that this is x is equals to 2, y is equals to 4. So this is a coordinate. And then now you are moving towards x is equals to 1. On the function, you are moving towards x is equals to 1. So you are approaching x is equals to +1. On the x-axis, on the y-axis, you can see that your values are moving from 4 here when x is 2, and then maybe here when x is maybe 1,9, then y is 3. Maybe when x is 1,5, it's just a speculation and estimation. Maybe when x is 1,3, as you are getting closer to 1, you can see that your y values are also approaching the +1 as well. So you can also say and write that as a deduction and say that the limit as f of x as x approaches +1, it is equals to 1. Wait a moment. So the limit looks just like the y value at that particular x value. What do I mean? Of course, let's just wrap this and look at this carefully. If you look at this carefully, when x is -1 on the graph, when x is -1, what is the y value? If you can just look carefully, when x is -1 here, if you move and map towards your graph, you are going to end at the y value equals to +1. So you can see that basically, if x is -1, then y is -1. And we say and y is +1, I mean. So, and we have said that the limit as we approach -1 is also 1. So do you see that the limit is just the y value at a particular x value? In this case, if we continue, or when we continue here, and say, what is the y value when x is equals to 1? If you put this on your parabola, when x is equals to 1, y is also equals to 1. So do you see that this is the y value when x is equals to 1, but it is the same value that we are approaching as x approaches +1. So basically, the limit looks just like the y value at that particular x value. The limit is also a y value as well. But here, when we say that the limit is a y value that is being approached, it just means that we will never get to 1 exactly. That's why we just approached -1 and we approached +1. We never got to 1 exactly. So basically, with this deduction, so whenever you're given an equation, you could just substitute into that equation. I mean, that's simple, right? For now. So basically, if you say here the limit of f of x, if they give you an equation as x approaches 1, what are you going to do? The equation of f of x is given by x squared. Let's just say you don't have a graph to analyze. The limit of x squared as x approaches 1. You are just going to substitute 1 here, and this will be just 1 squared. That will just be 1. Do you realize that the limit, you just get it by substituting a particular x value in the equation and get the y value? Actually, the limit is the y value at that x value that we are approaching. What if you do the same thing as x approaches -1? Maybe there's a difference. Let's see that. So the limit as x approaches -1, the equation for this function is x squared. So it means wherever there is x, we're going to put -1 squared. Hypo is still 1. So do you see that this confirms it when I say that the limit looks just like the y value at a particular x value? Yes, in some cases it is. So now let's look at this. Evaluate the limits before. The limit as x tends to 3 of x plus 3. You're not given a graph and you're not given a chance to plot a graph. You have to determine from the equation itself what is the limit. So basically here, the limit as x tends to 3 of x plus 3, you're just going to say I'm given an equation which is x plus 3, and the x value that we are approaching here is +3. So where there is x, I'm just going to substitute 3, and then the limit here will just be equal to 3 plus 3, and 3 plus 3 will just give me 6. Mnandi manje. So basically, it's all about substituting, right? Let us see number 2. Number 2, this is the limit as x tends to, or I actually wanted this to be the limit as x tends to -1. So change that. So this is the limit as x tends to -1. That's what I wanted. So now let us look at the substituting part. Can we really substitute here? No, we cannot. If we substitute -1 here, look at this rational function, what will happen? If you put -1 where there is x and just substitute -1, in the denominator you're going to have -1 plus 1, because this is x plus 1, right? So you just put -1 where there is x. -1 plus 1 is equals to 0. And once the denominator is 0, then your thing is undefined. Now you are stuck. Perfect. How do we fix your mess? So now the thing is here, when it is undefined, when you get that, when you substitute a certain x value into the equation in attempting to find the limit, and you find out that it's undefined, what do? You try to find a common factor. There must be a what? A common factor that is making this to be what? To be undefined. So now let's try to find a common factor. How do we find common factors? We factorize. That's the whole purpose of factorizing, is so that we find common factors. We can factorize the numerator and say this will be the limit as x tends to -1. And then now you do not remove the limit as long as you haven't started substituting, continue writing limit as x tends to -1. So here you've got x squared plus 2x plus 1. You can factorize this as x because this is a quadratic function, x and x, and then you can have plus 1 and plus 1, or you can just write x plus 1 squared, because if you FOIL this back again, you're going to get x squared plus 2x over 1. Then this is over x plus 1. Oh, now it's visible. Do you see that there's a common factor here? Here's a common factor, ta. So now you had to cancel some common factor so that your thing is no longer undefined. So you're actually remaining with a simple thing, which is just the limit of x as x tends to -1 of x plus 1. So now this is way more easier because you can substitute. Just take -1 here, put it where there is x. That will be your limit. So this will be -1 plus 1. So the limit here is 0. Cool. So whenever you try to substitute and you find out that your thing is undefined, then there must be what? There must be a common factor. Number 3, the limit as x goes towards 2 of x squared plus 5x plus 6 over x plus 3. Now, let's just say here, let me just rewrite this as the limit as x tends to -3. So now, if you substitute -3 where there is x, that is, if you put -3 here where there is x, if you put -3, this thing is going to be undefined, because if you put -3 here on the denominator, will be -3 plus 3, and will give you 0 at the denominator. And once the denominator is 0, you are dead, because this will be undefined. So now, how do we make it defined? Oh, there must be some common factor. Let's try to just find the common factor. We can factorize the numerator indeed and find 2 factors, x and then x there, and then this is all over x plus 3. And then if you are going to factorize this properly, you're going to get the factors 6 and 1. Okay, let's just assume this is negative, this is minus. Just assume that this is -6. Sorry, when I structured the question, I forgot some of the things that I wanted to emphasize. So this is -6. So this is x squared plus 5x minus 6. So if you factorize that carefully, you're going to get that here you would have what? You would have 6 plus 6 minus 1. So those are your factors if you factorize carefully and correctly. So in this case, now there is no factor that can cancel out, because look at this. Here on top we've got x plus 6. Here we've got x minus 1. But the denominator, which is making this to be undefined when we substitute x is equals to -3, there is no common factor here. Oops. Ouch, I cannot find the factors to cancel out. So what do I do? This just means that the limit does not exist. So the limit is possible that it doesn't exist. But why do we say the limit does not exist? How do we even determine that? Now let's talk about the right-sided and the left-sided limit. So how can a limit not exist? So remember we said that the limit is the y value that we approach as x approaches a certain x value. So we can approach we can approach x in many different ways. So let's just say here we want to do the same graph, the one that we have used at the beginning of this video. We want to approach x is equals to -1. We can approach x is equals to -1 from the left of -1, or we can approach it from the right of -1. So do you see that here? There are 2 directions in which we can approach x is equals to -1. So it means we can approach it from the left and from the right. Even +1 here, even +2, any number, you can approach it from the left and you can also approach it from the right. So now, let's see, how does that help us in knowing if the limits exist or not? So basically, we say that for a limit to exist, the limit as you approach a certain value from the what? As you approach a certain value from the left must be equals to the limit as you approach from the right. So the right-sided limit will be the y value that you approach as you are coming from the right. The left-sided limit will be the y value that you approach as you are coming from the left. When you're coming from the right, we're going to write a positive on top of your number. Like here you can see that on this one, this is limit as we approach 3 and we put to the power of positive. This doesn't mean that we are this positive is, it doesn't mean that 3 is positive, but this positive just means that we are approaching 3 from the right. And then this minus here, if we put this limit as x approaches 3 to the power of minus, it just means that we are approaching 3 from the left. So now those two limits, they must be equal so that we can say that the limit exists. So in this graph, it is pretty clear that they are equal because we are approaching the same value from the left and from the right at any x value. So if I can ask in this graph, does the limit as x approaches 4 of this function f of x? So that's the question. Does the limit as x approaches 4 exist for this graph? Let's look at it. Remember, we've said that for the limit to exist, the right-sided limit, the one from the right and the one from the left, must be equal. So let's just try to evaluate that. Here is 4, but then 4 is too far. The graph is not reaching there. So let's just say the limit as x approaches positive 1. So does the limit as x approaches positive 1 exist? So let's approach positive 1 from the left on our graph. So it means we are coming from 0 and we are approaching positive 1. So as we are moving here, we are approaching positive 1. On the y-axis, what are we approaching? We are also approaching positive 1 as well, because you can see that as you approach positive 1 from the left here on your function, on the y-axis, we are also approaching, we are closer to positive 1 as well. So here we can just say the limit of f of x as x approaches 1 from the left, we put to the power of minus, it is equals to 1. So it just means that as you approach 1 from the left, you get 1. Here, let's look at the limit now of f of x as x approaches 1 from the right. So now let us come from the right. So it means we're approaching 1 from the right on the function. So this will be our function here. We are coming from the right. We are approaching from the right. We are coming from these values that are greater than 1. And as we are approaching on the function, as we are approaching positive 1 on the x-axis, the y values are also getting closer to 1. So here you can see that the limit as x approaches 1 also from the right, it is the same as the one from the left. So we can say that the limit exists, because for a limit to exist, the limit as x approaches 1 from the left must be equal to the limit as x approaches 1 from the right. So basically, to generalize things, we can just say the limit as x approaches a from the left is equals to the limit as x approaches a from the right, to generalize the situation. If they are not equal, the limit does not exist. So let's look at the cases where the limit does not exist. Look at these cases. This is one function. It's a piecewise function. So in most piecewise functions, the limit does not exist in most of them, but not in all of them. So now, let us just say, does the limit as x approaches 3 exist? Does the limit as x approaches 3 for the function exist? Remember that these blue graphs, they represent one function. It's a piecewise function. I recommend that you watch my video on piecewise functions so that you understand how the piecewise functions work. So this is all one function. So let us approach, for us to check if the limit does exist or does not exist, we need to approach from two different directions. We need to approach 3 from the right, and we also need to approach 3 from the left. So let's do that. So if we are approaching 3 from the left on our function, it means we're just going to draw on our function as we're approaching 3. Here we are approaching 3. We look at the y-axis. Which value are we approaching? We are approaching this value. So as x is approaching 3, the y value is approaching whatever value it might be here. Maybe it's negative 1. We're just speculating. So as you approach 3 from the left, the limit is approximately negative 1. So we can say that the limit as x approaches 3 from the left of this function, let's just say it's f of x, is approximately -1. What if we approach 3 from the right? So if we approach 3 from the right, basically it means that we are moving from values that are greater than 3 towards 4. So it means on our function, do not just approach on the axis. Don't just draw an arrow on the axis and say that you are done. You approach on the function, you draw on the function, you highlight on the function to say that you are approaching x is equals to 3. So you are approaching x is equals to 3. And as you can see here, as you approach x is equals to 3, on the y-axis, the y value that you're going to approach is somewhere here. So you can see that your y value, maybe it can be something like 4. It's approximately 4 according to how I see things here. So here you can just say that here the limit of the function f of x. This is still one function, remember, as x approaches 3 from the right is approximately 4. Approximately 4, not equal to 4. Just approximately, we're just approximating. So do you realize one thing here? This is one function, and we are approaching the same value, which is 3, from different direction, from the left and from the right. So as we approach 3 from the left and the right, we realize that the y values that we are approaching are different because these graphs are disconnected. So the y values are different. We are approaching two different y values as x approaches +3 from the left and from the right. So we say that here the limit does not exist. So you can say, therefore, the limit does not exist. Why does the limit not exist here? It is because the limit as x tends to 3 from the left of this function f of x, it is not equal to the limit as x approaches 3 from the right of the function f of x. So basically, as we approach 3 from the left, we get -1. As we approach 3 from the right, we get +4 as our y value, which is the limit. Remember, the limit is just the y value that we approach as x approaches a certain value. In this case, as x approaches 3, from the right, we approach +4. From the left, we approach -1, approximately. So here the limit does not exist because we are approaching two different values. So it is possible for your limit to not exist. So in our next video, we'll be talking about the limits in piecewise functions. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Tell your friends to stay tuned.